I mean, I really want Markelle Fultz, but I don't think it's happened unless...
Washington guard Markelle Fultz will be selected first overall in Thursday's NBA draft via trade with Boston. He'll join a Sixer squad laced with young talent like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Biggest boss and I've been a trillist. I'm a bigger problem when I click with Skrillex. Murder on my mind, it's time to pray to God. My revolver's not religious, the revolution's born. You wanna know my name to go and tell the song.
All right, once again, it's the WeSpeak Philly Sports Podcast
with a new intro.
Yeah, with a brand new intro. We're getting a little bit better technology wise. Still suck, but it's all right. So this is episode
5. Cinco.
Man, that's crazy. So episode 5, once again, my name is John Politsky. I'll be your host, and I'm here with...
Brayden Smith, intern, B-Dog.
Boom. So we're going to be doing 3 podcasts this week. We're going to be doing this one today, which will be uploaded tomorrow. We're going to be doing one tomorrow during the day, and then we will be doing a live NBA draft one, which is going to be fast and furious tomorrow night.
For sure. I'm going to start with this NBA offseason madness today, get a little more NBA draft focus tomorrow, and then obviously big time focus tomorrow night. That's all we're talking about, nothing else. So we'll be having a good time. But obviously we got to start with the big news that you heard in the intro. The Sixers did indeed trade up with the Boston Celtics for the number 1 pick, which we have been clamoring for as a fan base. Many people like Markelle Fultz. There's a few people that don't like this trade. To them, I say, you've got to be kidding me. This is such a good move for this franchise. Can play off the ball with Simmons and also be a secondary ball handler when Simmons is on the bench, or if you just don't want him to bring it up. John, what did you think of the move?
I mean, I don't know, as a fan base, I don't know how you can't be a fan.
Seriously.
Enough is enough with the draft picks. I don't want to be picking in the first 3 picks. This is four years in a row where we have a top 3 pick.
They always seem to miss out on the player, too.
Yeah.
One of them was D'Angelo Russell, which he's getting shipped out. It's not too bad. But whatever.
The Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. So, anyway, I think that as a fan base, you have to like the trade. I don't care who the pick is. You have to like the fact that the Sixers are now committed to just going for it. And look, there's craziness going on all over the league, which we'll talk about a little bit more today and obviously tomorrow. But the Cavs are in disarray right now with Jimmy Butler now. Players are texting Jimmy Butler to not come to Cleveland. Kyrie Irving and LeBron and some players are texting him not to come to Cleveland because it now looks like the Lakers are clearing cap space
for Paul George
and LeBron James.
Right.
So
clearing cap space ahead of time.
It's bizarre.
And we'll get into that real good in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it looks like the Cavs might lose out on Jimmy Butler and Paul George. I mean, you can't. It's just wow. I don't know. There's no really word for it. I have that in here to talk about later. What do they do? I have no idea what they're even going to do. The top 2 players that are there on the market to get from another team doesn't look like they're going.
It's crazy.
So, before we get to that, how about Kristaps Porzingis on the trade block as of yesterday, or so it sounds? Should Phil Jackson be admitted to an insane asylum?
How does somebody who was widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches of all time, he has 11 rings, how does someone like that destroy a franchise? I just don't get it. My whole feeling with that is, if you're Porzingis, I mean, do you want to get traded? Probably not, because you definitely want to play in New York, but
you need help,
and you don't want to. I mean, you just don't want to play for this team anymore. I mean, that New York Knicks team is just horrible. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I think that Carmelo's going to go, Porzingis might go, and then Phil Jackson's going to go, which is a shame. I don't know. If you're Dolan, you can't let Phil trade Porzingis. You just can't.
And the fact they haven't traded Carmelo yet, I think, is absurd.
It's
also
just nuts.
I mean, seriously. I mean, they had an opportunity to at least get something for him at some point. I mean, what's somebody giving up to get him right now?
Nothing.
Does he help the Cavs if they I really don't know.
Minimally, but you at that point you have to get rid of Love, right? And then and to me, it's like if you want to bring Carmelo to the Cavs, you got to get rid of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's a ball dominant
Oh yeah,
guard, so you just can't. You can't.
it's
do it.
crazy because we think that just watching. Sometimes we think Kyrie and LeBron fit together so well, and that just shows LeBron's greatness even more because they really don't. Like they really don't fit together that well, and they're still. I mean, they still don't lose other than to this best team of all time, Warriors team. So it's crazy. I mean, if he had a player that played defense and actually could play off the ball better, I mean, sky's the limit. But like you said, you're right. Kyrie, they don't really fit that well.
They
really
don't. And I agree with you. I don't think Kyrie and LeBron fit that well together. But LeBron's greatness pulls that together somehow.
Right.
Kyrie should just go somewhere. Kyrie's one of those guys I think that's destined to be a great player on a shitty team for the rest of his career.
Could be, for sure. I agree. I can see that. Let's move on to Paul George, Jimmy Butler. So we touched on it, but looks like Jimmy Butler to the Celtics, at least to me.
I agree. I think Paul George 1,000,000% ends up on the Lakers, and they get him for a steal. I think they're going to wind up giving up a later first-round pick if they can get one, or I think they have 27 and 28 now.
Right.
If they can parlay those two picks into like a 15 or something like that, and then ditch that over for Paul George, I think it's a done deal. And they'll give him something, Jordan Clarkson or something.
Right, and Paul George did a lot for that franchise, so even if like the Cavs might give him a slightly better offer, you kind of think like the it might be at least not douches about it. Like if you know he wants to go to the Lakers, if it's a slightly better offer with the Cavs, maybe you take it. Maybe you just he's going to the Lakers. Maybe do him a solid for all he did for your organization.
He fucked the Pacers over right now.
Oh yeah,
I mean coming out and saying basically like I want to go play for LA next year.
Right.
That's a real dick move.
No, it really is. It really is. That's true.
I mean,
so then, maybe you do take the very slightly higher offer to make sure that he doesn't get, and that's funny because the option that he doesn't want, he might win a championship.
Yeah,
but it certainly
could.
doesn't seem like he cares. Like
No.
It really doesn't. It doesn't seem like he cares about winning. He just wants to go home.
He wants to go home.
Really.
So he could wind up winning a championship next year and then going to play for the Lakers. But I think that at the end of the day, I think before Thursday he'll be on the Lakers. And Jimmy Butler, I agree with you. I think Jimmy Butler winds up in Boston. I'm just not sure how they get that done. To me, it's going to be Josh Jackson, or it sounds like they're taking Jason Tatum now, and we're obviously going to talk about that all day tomorrow.
I think they will, and they're stockpiling these picks. I mean, they have. I don't have the list in front of me of all the picks they have, but I didn't even realize how many they had. I mean, it's insane, and just that Brooklyn pick for next year is like I can't even describe to you how valuable that is. So I mean, if you throw that in plus the 3 this year, I think that gets it done. I really do. A number 1 and a number 3, or a potential number 1 and a number 3. And I mean, they have players they could throw in if they really want to throw in an Avery Bradley to take his place. I mean, they could do it.
There's no reason to keep Avery Bradley because Jimmy Butler's a good defender, and there's really I can't see any reason to keep Avery. And Avery Bradley's a very good player. The problem is he's not that young.
That's right. I've wanted him in Philly for a long time.
I know. I would love him in Philly. He's a free agent next year, or the following year, but. Yeah, I think if you throw in Marcus Smart or an Avery Bradley, I think they get that deal done pretty quickly.
And if you're the Cavs, which one would you want?
I would rather have Jimmy Butler. I think he fits
really?
better.
So we get to debate a little bit then here.
I think he fits better with LeBron. I mean, Paul George and LeBron basically play the same position. Jimmy Butler can be too. Mm-hmm. And again, Paul George is the thing is, Paul George might be better for LeBron. Paul George has that killer instinct that I think sometimes LeBron doesn't have.
And that I don't think really Jimmy Butler has either.
No. I think Jimmy Butler's a really good player.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But Paul George has that, like, fuck you, I'm going to pull up from 30 and nail a 3, and I'm going to make it.
Yeah, I just think Paul George, Jimmy Butler, 2 of the best defenders there are.
Yeah.
Like, there's no debating about it. But with Paul George, you get a little more length. You get, and that length is important because there's a much better chance of him contesting a Kevin Durant jump shot in the finals next year. Maybe
takes a ton of defensive pressure off of LeBron.
5 less points a game, that could be a big difference. I mean, all their wins were by how many points, but or most of them anyway. But I just think his defensive value, and I do think he is a much better offensive player too. He's definitely a better shooter.
He's more polished,
right, for sure. So but again, you only get him for 1 year. He wants to go to LA, so there's a lot of arguments for either side. But that's why I think that's a real interesting conversation.
The only interesting thing there is, could Paul George say, great, let me go play for Cleveland next year, get really familiar and acclimated and become friends with LeBron, and then both of us will go to LA the following year.
Why not?
Which could happen. Then if that happens, Kyrie goes somewhere else.
Yeah, and Cleveland is
Cleveland is right back into the toilet. Quickly with Kevin Love.
Don't be betting any future bets on Cleveland
No.
right now. Oh my goodness, it could fall apart real quick. I missed something here with Kristaps. It was reported that Mr. Brian Colangelo, general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers, did indeed reach out to Phil Jackson about it. Would you like that? Like, I think you have to love Kristaps here. Like, you have to love it.
Oh, I mean, he's an amazing player.
Right.
You got to say goodbye to Dario.
For sure. And that's my next thing. Like, what would you give up? Like, what would you give up?
I would say if you're doing that, you don't need Dario. So you give up.
Right.
You're going to wind up giving. The problem is then, do you have two, like, you're being stupid. I mean, Porzingis is then your insurance policy for Embiid if he, for some reason, doesn't get healthy. So then you would have.
But they could also start together.
Oh, no, they complement each other very well.
That would be something else.
But you're giving up Dario. You're going to have to give up the other pick, the Sacramento pick or whatever it is. And then you're probably going to have to give up something else. Maybe Covington, maybe.
I have just what I listed down, what I would give up. Dario, the remainder of the Lakers-Kings pick, whichever one the Celtics don't get, like you just said.
Yep.
Another first, which I really don't think the Sixers picks are going to be valuable anymore.
No, it doesn't matter.
But I don't remember who was saying it yesterday, but get rid of them before the league knows that. Because they don't know. So and I threw Ja in there. They say that they think that he could fit in the triangle, which it's no one can fit in the triangle and win. I mean, that's just not going to work. They have to get rid of that.
They don't have Jordan.
But,
So my thing with Ja is I think he's obviously a super talented offensive player.
For sure.
He could average 20 points in the league, no problem. So then the issue with him comes down to he's never going to play defense. He's a prototypical old school center, back to the basket center.
Yeah, he plays like he's 35.
He does, which is fine. But to me, like, he needs Popovich or somebody.
Wouldn't hurt him, that's for sure.
He needs somebody who's not going to – like him going to another young team, it's just not going to work. I mean, I would give him to the Knicks tomorrow, but it's just going to be bad for him.
I'd give him to anybody.
Yeah, I agree.
And so circling back to Sixers draft.
Yeah,
lot of assets. We talked about a couple of them, whether that's Dario or Ja or the 4 second-round picks they have. Justin Anderson's name come up. Nick Stauskas' name comes up. So there's a lot of options there. What do you think?
I don't think anybody wants Stauskas at this point.
I don't think so either. He's a throw-in for sure.
I don't understand it. I've seen him practice. I've seen him play.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's got a ton of talent. He seems like in practice, he seems like he's the best player on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason, the lights come on and he falls asleep.
Yes.
I can't figure it out. And then every once in a while, he'll throw down a dunk from like the foul line in traffic on like 6 people. And you're like, all right, well, he's for real. And then
the other 5 players and one of his teammates.
Yeah, even somebody else on his team. He'll jump over T.J. McConnell and his finely combed hair.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I didn't like it at first, but it's beautiful. It really is.
It's great.
It's really good. We should have done a whole if we were doing this back then, we could have done a whole podcast about that.
TJ's hair. I think the Sixers package a couple of those second-round picks. It's a super deep draft.
You can't select 4 players. You can't do that.
They're not,
That's
and
not
they won't.
work.
I mean, they're going to give up. I'd love to see them try to get back into the bottom of the first round and steal a 3-and-D guy or steal like a Josh Hart from Villanova.
Yeah.
Who everyone's sleeping on.
There in the second round. I think he might be.
Yeah, so, I think he's going to go late first, early second. But
sure.
He's definitely he's a Popovich guy. I could see
he could be.
San Antonio or Golden State taking him.
And so that's the next thing I wanted to get into. Just if you were to package, I don't know, 2 seconds in Ja or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm down for pretty much trading anybody except for Dario. I mean, obviously not the higher players either, but like of the players that anyone would want. And the second rounders, I'd give up anything but Dario. Like, I'm not giving up Dario to get back into the second round or into the first round. That's absurd.
No way.
I mean, you look at some players that could slide down. You just don't know. Like this Tilakina from France. I certainly don't think he's going to be there at 15, but I'm looking at Draft Express's latest, and that's where he is. That's insane to me.
I think he goes like 11 or 12.
Yeah, I think he goes earlier. I really do. I think he goes 8, 9, 10.
The problem is you don't know. You never know there's teams in there that you just don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the Knicks. The Knicks could fall in love with somebody, and it's going to be the most bizarre pick.
Yeah, they're talking about Kennard maybe at 8.
I know.
Not here on this one, but I've
Dude.
heard that. I mean, because that has them, whatever it was the other day I saw, I mean, they're passing on Monk to take Kennard.
He is
I
Nick
don't like that.
Stauskas. And that's
He
who
could
he
be.
is.
That's true. But he's way less athletic.
Yeah, and that's scary because Nick's a really
Knicks
good
are
athlete.
athletic, but it's not working for him. So
No.
it's something in the mental makeup with Stauskas for sure.
Absolutely.
But if any one of the Zach Collins or Donovan Mitchell, Luke Kennard, like Justin Jackson, I love. Like if any of those players start to slip a little bit, I'm trying to get back
I would
up
jump
in the
up
late teens. Like
for Justin
absolutely.
Jackson at like 18 or 19 if he's on the board, which I don't even think he'll still be on the board. I would run up to get him.
And the other one's OG Anunoby, Indiana.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the top 10, even with his injury. So if like this has him at 20 now. I mean, if he's going to be down there,
I don't think he's on the board at 20, but like,
I certainly don't either. Somebody's got to fall, like somebody always does. So you just never know.
Yeah, and
But-
I saw that they just invited him to the green room. So that means that
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
yeah,
nice.
I just saw that on Bleacher Report. So I think that means that he's got some kind of guarantee
Yeah, some
for
promise.
the first round. Yeah.
I can't believe as soon as Harry Giles declared for the draft, like surprised some people, but he was in the top 10, like in everything right then.
Yeah.
And he's at 26 in this. I am so intrigued by that at 26. He didn't show anything in college. I'm a big Duke fan. I know. I've watched every game.
Yeah.
He didn't show really anything at all. 3.9 points, 3.8 rebounds, and a third of an assist in limited minutes. But he was the number one player in the country for a reason. The projected number one pick in this draft for 2 years ahead of time for a reason. I just hope that. I mean, obviously, if he gets injured again, you're screwed. But who knows? Him sliding in next to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's the stretch there, so Giles doesn't have to shoot threes, but he can hit it from the foul line, no problem. He's athletic as hell. If he can get those knees healed up, and I'm sure all he's done is get those knees healed up this whole entire thing. So he's going to come in for sure in the best shape he's been in his life. You know how it goes when they go to the NBA, and he's had plenty of time since that last injury, his senior year in high school. So that's almost 2 years ago now. So I think that could be really intriguing in the future with Embiid. No one really likes to talk about the players that are like in the late first round, early second round as starters. No one likes to go out on a limb because they're worried about their reputation. Everyone wants to say, "Oh yeah, he could be a good 8th player on the bench, like in the first round." Like I don't think they realize that players like this, or they don't pay attention to that. Players that get drafted that late are stars sometimes, much less starters. Like
Isaiah Thomas was
they
the
absolutely
last
could be the last
pick in the draft.
Mr. What do you call that? Mr. Irrelevant. That's in the NFL, but same thing.
Well, it's funny because I'm looking at the Bleacher Report top 50, just top 50 big board, and they have Justin Jackson at 10.
Yeah, see,
on their
so,
big board.
So if he slides down, you got a long shooter. You never know. Like taking a flyer on a small forward that can shoot it, and he gets to the rim okay. His floater is the best floater I've seen in college basketball this whole season. Just taking a flyer on a guy like that, you never know. Like you really don't. I mean, Kawhi went 15. Like that's taking
shoot.
a flyer exactly, and he learned to shoot. So I mean, you take a flyer on somebody that can shoot. I don't know how Justin Jackson is defensively, but he's got the tools to be a good defender.
He does.
For sure.
I don't think effort's an issue with him. So I would absolutely like 15 or 16. I'm taking a shot on him.
Jump up. Absolutely.
This is a really deep draft. But at 15 or 16, you're looking for high value rotation players. You're not getting an all-star at 15.
And you hope you get lucky.
Yeah, that's it.
But you got to get the player that you think can do it. And I had Terrence Ferguson is now at the late first round. I saw him at 10 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good enough to go play wherever it was.
For
Adelaide. Where was that?
Draft.
I think he went to Israel. I mean, he's at 29 now.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me you wouldn't trade up 10 spots and give up like 2 other second round picks
Yeah.
just to take a flyer on a guy like that. 6'7" shooting guard, small forward. Dude shoots the lights out, jumps out of the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I don't see. You can't select 4 players in the second round, whether they're stashes or anything.
Doesn't matter.
You can't do that.
You can take one stash and one player.
One stash and one player, and then you got to trade up for the rest of them.
And they're going to trade up. They're
Right.
going to. I mean, the problem is they're going to have to package a player, which is fine. Who cares?
Right.
I mean, I'll I would do that in a heartbeat.
And in the second round, just like a high upside big man, like not necessarily Embiid insurance here, but
No.
if they a buddy, one of my acquaintances that I was reading online the other day said, take a high upside big man in the second round, especially if they're going to trade Ja at some point, or he's gone soon anyway. They're actually pretty thin at power forward center at that point. Well, I should just say power forward. I mean, they're not thin at center with Embiid and Rashawn, but you take like Swanigan if he's there in the second round, or Tony Bradley. Like they're just upside big guys. They both.
The problem is there's a lot of towards the end of the first round or the second round. There's going to be a lot of big guys because you're going to have somebody's going to fall.
Yep.
So
Jordan Bell I like also, but I don't think he's going to be
this German
there.
dude might fall. Hartenstein.
Oh, Hartenstein, yeah. Some people really like him.
I know. It's so hard because there's so many big dudes in this draft, and the big dudes are not really. It's not a priority right now because it's such a small game.
Yeah, and plus the draft next year is like all big guys. I think like 8 of the top 10 are bigs.
That's why a lot of these guys are coming out now.
Yeah.
Even Tony Bradley from North Carolina is a interesting guy.
For sure.
But I don't know. Like I said,
I don't like North Carolina, and I liked watching him play. I loved watching him play.
To me, Josh Hart's ranked 37th. And there's a guy there who reminds me a lot of Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't have Kawhi's skill set. He's not as athletic.
Or as big.
Yeah,
White.
but
Kawhi's just solid.
He's a solid locker room dude. He's a guy that's going to work his ass off, and I think he'd be a good bench. Especially here, we don't have that. We don't have that swing. Those swing guys either off the bench. You figure you got Dario, who's probably going to wind up starting at the 4. At least next year, Covington's going to start at the 3.
Unless something else happens on first team, for sure.
Covington's not a bad 3-and-D guy.
No,
on a championship team.
I mean, he's about to sign for $18 million. So I don't know if it's going to be here or there, but it's going to be.
I think
he's
going to
get paid.
Covington. And then I think if they can get a decent second round pick that they can swing into a swing or a 4, they're good. I mean, this team's shaping up. Like, I don't know if TJ McConnell's going to make this team.
No, that's a good point.
I mean, Jared Bayless is under
thought about
contract.
that, but yeah.
So he's going to play, and I don't think he's a terrible player. I don't think he's a great player, but he's a serviceable backup guard who can score. But then, if you really look at it, you got Simmons, Fultz. So it's your 1-2. You got Covington at the 3, Dario at the 4, and then Embiid at the 5. So they're your 5 that aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Rashawn Holmes is your backup.
That lineup at all. That's
6.
a great backup.
Ja, I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but at 7, they're not going to cut him. And then you start digging into the bench a little bit, and you got Jared Bayless, who's your 8th guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Stauskas.
then Stauskas is your 9th. I don't think he's going to get cut. And he's probably not a terrible guy as your 9th guy off the bench, or, as your number 10 player.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start really digging into, like, what's a priority?
Right.
You need a 3. You need another 3.
Mm-hmm. Which is why that's what I'm saying. Take a chance on one with upside. You know, you just don't. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Justin Anderson seems like a good dude. I loved watching Justin Anderson in college. He was. If Virginia was on, I was watching it to watch Justin Anderson. It's just what it was. But he does not impress me at all. And he had like 28 points in a game this year. I don't even know how he did that.
He did.
I really don't know how he did that. His shot is broken.
And then Sergio, I don't think Sergio is going to be back.
Yeah, he only signed 1 year, right?
Yeah,
So that's interesting. I haven't heard a thing about that.
Me neither.
It's interesting.
So then
I love him.
You got Luau Cabarro, who's going to be a backup.
Yeah, we need to mention
I think he's
him.
going to be a decent one.
People are saying don't sleep. He could be the starter.
Gerald Henderson makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
Yeah, no.
But he'll probably be here.
Duke though.
Yeah, whatever. Sean Long will not be here. Tiago Splitter doesn't exist.
No.
And then
So there you go. Tiago's going to be gone. Hopefully Ja's going to be gone. You have Dario at the power forward. You need to pick someone up late. Unless if they had Jordan Bell in for a workout, they fall in love with Jordan Bell, trade back in the first round, get him.
Yeah.
It just depends how you evaluate players. I know I'm going out on a limb there, but so
cool. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up because we're going to be talking all day tomorrow.
And we'll see you guys in 24 hours.
We're going to start with the podcast at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and then we will be live starting at 6 o'clock for the NBA draft, and we will probably go from 6 until 10 or 11. So we'll be rolling tomorrow. All right, for the We Speak Philly Sports podcast, this is John Politsky, and
This is Brayden Smith. Peace.
see ya.